Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This your boy Rob Easy, always making things easy. Today I'm doing a response video to UndertakerFreak1127's Nintendo Sucks video. And I'm also going to be taking a look at his fanboys and not fanboys comments that was left on the Facebook post that this originally sparked this. So before I get started, I just want to let John know why exactly I'm doing this in the first place. It's because I actually care. See, I've always been a subscriber of yours for about 2 years now, and usually when you rant about stuff, and you do a very good job at explaining your points, and especially when it comes to anything like politics or any popular stuff in the news that's going on, and you usually do a good job at explaining your points to your audience. But I feel like with this situation here with Nintendo, I feel that your opinion and the basis of your opinion, you know, your foundation, is completely unstable. It's flawed. And that's what some people noticed in the comments section, as well as people on the opposite side of it. And even there was like one person, you know, not even wanting this to be a flame war in the first place, which it wasn't necessarily a flame war. It was mainly a discussion. There was no flaming of anyone, to be perfectly honest. But there were a lot of ignorant comments in there Facebook post. And right now you're seeing the Facebook post John made a little while ago. And this is the one fact that was mentioned in that post, that Nintendo is reporting a $229 million loss, and it's mostly because they didn't sell as many Wii U and 3DS consoles as they projected. Now, of course, that's true. Of course, they miscalculated on the Wii, how many consoles the Wii U was going to sell. It was originally projected around 8 million, but they ended up only selling around 4, like half of that. So, and they also struggled with the 3DS in the beginning, but now it's turned around. But he also, if you notice, there was also ignorance in that post. There was also saying that he believed 3DS was like a DSi with 3D, and that's really inaccurate. I mean, and now you're seeing all the Facebook posts that I captured from my phone, and of course I blocked out all the middle and last names. Only have the first names there, and the pictures really don't matter. So they'll be scrolling around for about 20 seconds. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to talk about at least 15 points that could be more or less the points you made in your Nintendo Sucks video. So, we'll get started with that you think people can't comprehend why you hate Nintendo. And I don't think that's exactly why, because you say that it's unfathomable to say that Nintendo sucks, but quite the contrary, John. There's actually sort of a divide between Nintendo fans, and most of them, on the one side, you actually truly deem as fanboys. The other side are actually more realistic and actually want Nintendo to do better, and they have things here and there that they want Nintendo to do to improve their situation. So that's number one. Number two, you see the company as a colossal pile of shit. Again, that's your opinion when you say it like that, although it's kind of hyperbolic, I feel. It's not exactly a piece of shit as EA or Bethesda or Activision, but hey, that's just my viewpoint. Number three, you try to say, I mean, there's people trying to say that your opinion is fact. On that part, of course, like I said earlier, the only part that was fact was the Nintendo losing the money part. That was of course a fact, and you could look that up. And the rest of it was your viewpoint. But like I said earlier, your viewpoint is flawed. And not only have I stated that multiple times, as you'll see in my posts, but in the Facebook post, but also other people call you out on. Number 4, I'm sorry. The next part of number 3 is that apparently you don't believe people know the line between fan and fanboy. They don't believe you know the line. Now let me put it to you like this, and this is just regarding me. I am a Nintendo fan, just like you, John, are a Metallica fan. You see, you like most of their shit that they do, but when there's something off about something like Lars Ulrich's drumming or their recent albums, for example, you'll call them out on it. And you know, that's exactly what we do. That's exactly what Spencer did. So it's exactly what Jordan did. It's exactly what Fareed has done. It's exactly what I've done. You know, we've called Nintendo out on their BS, and we've had thought about solutions to fixing their situation, because we want them to do better than what they're doing now. So that's one thing. Alright, point number 4. The fact about Nintendo losing money this year. It's stating that's your only fact, and again, like I said, of course it was a fact by you, but I should also mention that there was a recent article just came out today that stated Sony was expected to lose around $460 million for this year, and that's a little bit more than Nintendo. So just wrap your head around that for a little bit. Number 5, always will think Xbox and PlayStation will outclass Wii and Wii U. Now in certain aspects, yes, especially when regarding the hardware. Of course, Xbox One and PS4 are clearly superior hardware-wise. There's no question about that. But when it comes to exclusives, Nintendo clearly has more out right now with the Wii U. I mean, you got New Super Mario Bros. U, Pikmin 3, Wind Waker HD, Super Mario 3D World, you got Mario Kart 8 coming up, you got all other kinds of games coming. And I know I mentioned Mario a lot, and you got a problem with that, but we'll get to that later. Number 6, they marketed the tablet more than the console itself, and I had a question mark at the end there, because if you really knew what was going on with the Wii U, then you would know that they only had that situation when the console was first revealed at E3 2012. Now, I remember Reggie saying that Wii U was the successor to the Wii. And he also said that it was supposed to bring more of the core gamers onto their side, and also bring more third parties in. And the goal of that was to have everyone play the Wii U, and to get the adopters of the Wii and make that transition over to Wii U. Now, of course, you didn't see that happen. And primarily the reasons why is because they had very little marketing, especially when it came to around the launch date, which was around November 18th, 2012. And around that time, there were no commercials for it at all. On the contrary to Xbox One and PS4, you had so many commercials for it. You had so many that were like 3 weeks before their launch dates, and like for the rest of the time after, they still made commercials. And of course, you didn't see Nintendo do that. Although they had stuff on their YouTube channel, had stuff on their website, but people aren't necessarily going to look at them. They're not going to look for that shit unless they like see it on TV. So that's one of the main reasons why Wii U is suffering the way it is. Number 7, Wii was less gimmicky. Now, I'm really having a hard time discerning what you define as gimmicky, because I kind of argued with it in the comments too, in the Facebook post, because apparently you deemed the gamepad more gimmicky than the Wiimote and Nunchuck, which kind of throws me off a little bit, because all the gamepad is a detached 3DS that's scaled up, and it still has a touchscreen and all the buttons. I mean, it's also got a gyroscope inside that you can kind of move around, but at the same time you can do that with 3DS too, and only a few games utilize it, so it's not that big a deal. I feel like the Wiimote and Nunchuck were more gimmicky during the Wii's era, because that was using something innovative called motion control. And in one of the comments here, you mentioned that Nintendo were the first people to make motion control real. Like, get out of here with that, or get that shit out of here, like you would say. But in actuality, they did. It's called a Power Glove from the NES. However, that was kind of a failed experiment. But, you know, some people still bought into it. But of course, with the Wii, they perfected motion control way more than PlayStation did when they tried to copy. Well, I wouldn't say copy, I would say inspired. They were inspired by Nintendo to create the PS Move, but that wasn't very successful, as a lot of Sony fans will tell you. Number 8, throw out 100 million units fact. It's referring to all the apparent Nintendo fanboys throwing out the 100 million Wii units sold. I mean, of course that's a fact, but we don't throw it out there, you know, just in your face about it, you know what I mean? And of course it was popular for everyone, you know, from families to the elderly, but most of those that you probably didn't know, most of those either played like Wii Sports or had it for Netflix, to be honest with you. Also the Wii U was for, you know, the core Nintendo fan base, because most of the Nintendo fan base, you know, bought the Mario games, the Zelda games. They also bought third-party titles like No More Heroes 1 and 2, the Conduit and Conduit 2. Some of them bought the COD, or at least Modern Warfare Reflex, Black Ops, and Modern Warfare 3. They also had Mad World, you know, games like that, you know, were more for the hardcore audience, at least as far as Nintendo is concerned, for a hardcore audience, which I know is very little to you, but whatever. Now, number 9, Microsoft and Sony can have GTA 5, Borderlands, and God of War, and I had God of War in a question mark, because I don't know if you know this, but God of War is an exclusive to PlayStation. Like, I don't know if you knew that, like, because it's developed by Santa Monica, and Santa Monica is owned by Sony, so that makes sense. In the same way, Monolith Soft, who made Xenoblade on the Wii, that developer's under Nintendo, so Nintendo owns them. So technically, it would be a first-party title. Just throwing that out there. Alright, number 10. No third-party support for Wii U. Now, you said, like, I pretty much said this verbatim. Like, no third-party support at all. Well, it's not true. We did have third-party support. Very little. Number 1. Number 2, it was also gimped. For example, on the Wii U version of Injustice, we only had the first season DLC, characters and skins. For Black Ops 2, we didn't have the map packs. I think there were 3 or 2, if I recall correctly. And then we didn't have the extra gun that came with it. And also, we only had patches for 3. I think we only had patches 3 times. And then that stopped after January of 2013. And Also for COD Ghost, we also didn't have the map packs. We didn't have. We barely got the free fall bonus map that was supposed to be a pre-order bonus, and we barely got that like 4 months later, which is ridiculous. But well, better late than never, I guess. But we do have third-party supporters like Platinum Games, who has made a Wonderful 101 on the Wii U, and also they have Bayonetta 2 coming out later this year. And we also have Watch Dogs, the Wii U version of it, but of course if you read, that was delayed because it's going to fall on the original release date. It's going to fall on the same week as Mario Kart 8, and we barely would have time to play Watch Dogs. You know, we barely have like 3 days worth of playing time in before we'd switch to Mario Kart. So, oh, but I'm sorry, but that's a Mario game. You don't want that, do you? Okay, so 11. Now we go to Mario and Zelda games. See, I find it funny that you mainly talk about Mario and Zelda games, you know, as rehashed, and they're always Nintendo's go-to. But if I recall correctly, Sony's got Uncharted, they've got God of War that you've played before, and he also mentioned sports games, which is kind of funny because in your PSN profile you have multitudes of sports games like MLB The Show, for example. You had it from like 09 to 14, which is, even I had stopped playing those games because they were starting to get repetitive, and that was back like 2 generations ago of gaming. So yeah. Alright, number 12. Third parties won't touch it. Again, some of them have already touched it, but I get what you mean, that we don't have the GTA 5, we don't have the Borderlands, we don't have all the map packs for COD. We're not going to have Batman Arkham Knight. That's quite unfortunate, but we have the previous 2 iterations that have been released. Let me see. Number 13. Now, let me get to Pokemon a little bit, because of course you played through the main story and stop, but that's not where I had the problem. I mean, that you can do that all day, but that's not where I had the problem. The problem I had was where you had this guy named Nick, and you should have seen it earlier in the posts that apparently you don't understand the competitive aspect of Pokemon, because for about 3 months at least, before Pokemon Bank came out, Diggersby was used quite often in the competitive scene. As I explained in the post on Facebook, Diggersby has the hidden ability Huge Power, which doubles the power of its attacks, which means it can be quite devastating and can wreck almost any Pokemon. Pretty much OHKOing it or 2-hit knocking it out. So, Diggersby was a pretty powerful Pokemon. It also had a priority move, Quick Attack, that was pretty devastating because it not only was powered up by Huge Power, but also it had the same type attack bonus because it's a normal type attack, and Diggersby's normal and ground. And at the same time, I remember this guy I was arguing with. He was quite ignorant as well. He was blasting Mega Mawile for no reason. I mean, I say no reason because he's like, it looks atrocious. However, Mega Mawile is probably one of the most overused Pokemon out there in the competitive scene, especially in the video game tournaments that are going on this year. Because as you notice, you can do a lot of stuff with Mega Mawile, and it's got a priority move Sucker Punch, which is pretty good, and it also has the ability Huge Power. Now you're probably wondering, where do you get a Diggersby with a hidden ability? In the Friend Safari, after the game. But see, you didn't want to play after the game, so there you go. But That's basically all I had for you. If even you took away one thing from this response, then I've done my job. I mean, I'm just voicing my view on this. So, thank you guys for watching and listening. So until next time, this has been Rob Easy. Peace, y'all. I'm out.